Welcome back to LA Fishguys, part 3 of the Algae Filter episode. We're here at a customer's home and we're going to install kind of a homemade algae filter. What's an algae filter, you say? Well, it's a small little box that has algae inside of it, I guess. We're going to put a light on top of it and it's going to gravity feed back down into the sump below that the water was pumped from. In this particular case, I mentioned homemade. I made the stand. I painted the stand. Now I got to take the stand apart because I forgot there's that overflow coming out of the bottom corner of the tank there. And I can't get the stand to fit in as one piece. So I've got to disassemble it and reassemble it around that drain pipe. And there we go. I've got my custom homemade algae filter stand built basically into the corner there. It works around that drain pipe. There's the two openings out of the bottom of the stand that'll allow the water to pass in and out of the tub itself. And of course, it'll draw from that reservoir down below. And one thing I want to do pretty quick before I forget is secure the stand to the wall. Why? Well, not only do I have a box of water sitting on a tall, narrow, homemade stand, but this is California. Southern California. Los Angeles, to be specific. Earthquake country. Okay, enough playing around. Let's get to it. Here we're going to take and place our rubber tub on top of my homemade algae filter stand. Note that I drilled those two holes to the top of the stand. They are there to accommodate the two bulkheads through the bottom of the tub. One of those bulkheads, the smaller of the two, the half-inch, is where the water will come back up to this tub from below. It'll rise up in a short standpipe. And attached to the bulkhead on the underside, I'll thread on an elbowed hose barb fitting. This will accommodate the flexible tubing that'll come from the water pump below up to the filter. The other bulkhead, which is the larger one, will become the drain out of it. Here, let me show you how that works. Here's the tub or the reservoir, and here's that flexible drain line attached to that larger bulkhead. It'll drop down, pass through that pipe, and into the filter below. Here's the flexible tubing and the elbowed hose barb on the underside of the tub. It rises up in this half-inch standpipe, and that's what will billow into the tub. And I referenced a few times the filter below. Well, here's that filter. It's simply an open sump with a protein skimmer. The larger line in the back is the one coming from the tank. The horizontal one, which still needs to be tucked into the filter, is the extension of the drain line out of our algae filter. And let's go ahead and plug her in. Whoa, that's a pretty strong flow. So you can see the standpipe in the algae filter and how the water billows up out of it. That should create great surface agitation. Keep in mind that water's being pumped from that filter down below. So that's a pretty strong flow. We may have to put a little restrictor on there because I think that's a bit much. And now that the tub's filled up a bit, you can get an idea as to how the standpipe for the drain works. And that runs down that flexible tubing down here to the filter below. This is the filter for the tank itself. You can see the drain line, how it loops itself into the open sump. And here's how the drain line connects to that drain standpipe. And again, there's the elbowed hose barb for the return into the filter itself. And now with the algae filter itself running, it's time to replenish the water back into the tank as a result of that 20-gallon vacuuming and siphoning job we did earlier. This is the hard part of the job. This is the back-breaking part of the job. This is lifting those 5-gallon jugs of water up and over your shoulders. So that's the algae filter on its stand, plumbed into the filter system on the tank. There's the flow. I think I have to put an elbow on there and maybe restrict it a bit, and it'd probably be a good idea to put a strainer there. If that plugged up, that whole thing could overflow. So let's go ahead and lower the lights, clean the front of the tank. We'll return later this weekend to attach the light and hopefully introduce the algae, the Chaeto into the tank. And I invite you to come on back for part 4 of LA Fishguys, the algae filter episode. This will be the one where we cut the hole in the top of that rubber tub and mount that particular power compact 65-watt bulb on top of the tank, add the algae. In this case, I think we're going to be adding some Chaeto from Scott's big 500-gallon reef tank. And hopefully the combination of the growth of that algae will outcompete the hair algae in the tank, and we'll win the battle on algae through natural filtration.